Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! About a week ago, I was chilling out with my friend in a cultural center, basically a building where you can go do your stuff like dancing, singing, playing games, whatever. And I was playing around with my closed belly song, aka butterfly knife for those who don't know, not flipping it, just tapping my fingers on it, using it as drumstick in the table. You might be wondering why the heck was I doing this? Well, I have a need to be playing with something in my hand sometimes. Childish, I know, but whatever. So I was there with my friend when suddenly, the entitled mother says, "What are you doing?" "Talking." "Stop waving this murderous thing around, because it's illegal." Yes, she said that. "And you're scaring my son." Didn't see the kid. He was probably on a playground nearby. I tell her first, I don't believe I can kill someone with this particular knife. Second, it isn't illegal. "Yes, it is. You can't carry knives around." My friend tells her, "Our constitution doesn't say anything about carrying white weapons." To be clear, this is 100% true. Our laws say nothing about blades. You can carry anything in the realm of reason. No stuff like a claymore, but basically any pocket knife and knife in existence. She storms off and I decide to put the ballet song in my pocket and we just keep chatting until, "Hey you." I turned around to see a police officer. She brought a cop into this. The police officer with his hand casually resting on his taser. This woman said you assaulted her and put a knife to her son's throat. The kid is with his mom, kinda spaced out looking at the sky. Me with my hands raised. "I find that really hard, officer." "He was trying to kill my baby. He has a knife." "Is that true?" "Well, I have a knife." "Yes, I did giant air quotes on me. But if you let me reach my pockets, you will understand the situation." The police officer nods and I slowly reach my pocket, retrieving my plate. I unlock the parts and slowly let it open, twisting my hand to reveal a hand brush. Yes, I have one of those. Why, you might ask? Well, because it's nice and I can flip it open doing tricks with no fear of chopping my fingers. My friend starts to laugh and the cop relaxes, turning to the entitled mother. "Ma'am, I think the situation is clear here." He goes to restrain her for something. I don't know what, probably false charges, I'm not sure, while me and my friend just laugh about the situation. The cop came later to speak to us. It turns out he also likes cutlery, and we explained and showed that in our country, there are no laws against it. Amusing, huh? I was out earlier today to get some groceries. It was an uneventful shopping for the few things I went out for. This happened when I tried to get in a cab I had called for myself. When my cab pulled up, it was one of the owners whom I'm good friends with, as well as her husband. I exclusively use her company and they will give me deals sometimes like not charging for an extra passenger, or if they see me walking they will stop for me and not charge me. The cab driver, I will call Claudia, helped me load my groceries into the trunk of the car. I put the cart alongside the other carts, and when I went to get into the cab, there was a woman sitting there. She had locked the back door so I couldn't get in, and stared straight ahead so she didn't make eye contact with me. I said to Claudia, "I thought I called for the cab. Who is that lady?" Claudia looked into the back seat window on her side and said, "I don't know, but she's getting out. This is your ride." Claudia opened her door and nicely explained to the woman that the cab was already hired, so she had to get out. But she would get on a radio and get someone else there right away. This woman was having none of it. "I got in the cab first, so it's my cab. Just shut up and get in and take me to wherever she wanted to go." Claudia told her she needed to get out because this cab was taken again and tried to open the door to get the woman out, but every time she hit the unlock button, the woman would lock the doors faster than Claudia could unlock it and open it. Then Claudia just reached into the cab and took out the keys and told the woman she's calling the police if she doesn't exit right away. Then the woman lurched over the front seat and locked all the doors. Claudia had the keys and could have opened the lock at any time, but instead kept to her word and called the police. The police station is literally across the street from the shopping center, so they were there in less than 5 minutes. When they did arrive, we told them what was going on, and they ordered her out of the cab. She sat there stone-faced and ignored the two police officers completely. They got Claudia to unlock the doors and were quicker getting the door open than she was at locking it. One officer ordered her out of the cab and she turns to him and says, "I'm not getting out. This is my cab and I will stay. And that driver better get herself behind the wheel before I press charges." At the same time as the first officer was talking to her, the other jumped in the back seat and basically shoved her out of the door. Once she and the second officer were out, the first officer shut the doors and Claudia locked it. This woman may have been dressed like a lady, and to be honest, she wasn't hard on the eyes, but the gates of hell had just been opened. This complete psycho slapped Officer 1 and was turning to punch Officer 2 when she froze and stiffened with the most ungodly sounds coming from her as Officer 2 tased her. They put her in cuffs and had to wait for the ambulance for the taser barbs to be removed by an EMT. Claudia and I were told we can go, we weren't needed anymore. Since she assaulted an officer, our petty little squabble was nothing now. We still have to make statements, but those are going to wait until Monday. 1. So she can sit in jail all weekend, and 2. Because it was near the end of their shifts and by the time they would have done the paperwork, it would be quitting time for them anyway. And 3rd, and most important, Claudia is a sister of Officer Number 1. I am sure Claudia will keep me posted on everything, and a good thing, other than the entertainment, is Claudia gave me a free drive home and helped unload the groceries. I am glad I didn't buy ice cream. Update: I talked to Claudia last night. From what her brother told her, the woman cried the whole weekend in jail. She tried buying her way out many times. At court, she pled guilty to almost all charges. She wouldn't admit to hitting the cop, but there was dashcam video showing it clearly. And the judge said she was guilty for that as well. I guess there were about 8 charges in total. She was found guilty for all of them, and when the judge gave her her punishment, I was told she screamed at the judge that it's not fair, and she tried to offer the judge money so she wouldn't go back to jail. For some reason, the court didn't charge her for trying to bribe a judge, but everything else she earned. The judge gave her a total of $2,500 in fines, 1 year probation, 1 year suspended license, 6 months suspended jail sentence, and the rest of this week in jail. She will be out Friday, Claudia said. So I've talked a lot about my time LARPing, live action role playing. Think improv acting meets D&D if you aren't familiar. From me, you'll probably read about the entitled parents at trend fairs. Entitled mother trying to force their children on us mid-LARP, and entitled mothers trying to get a better role for their child in a LARP. Now we get to an entitled mother in a LARP. The story starts off quite sweet. The LARP organizing company I worked for at the time was running a light horror weekend game. A game runs Friday to Sunday. That revolved around a group of people who are locked in a biological warfare lab and have to work together to escape. A member of the local college role-playing society, where we got most of our players from, booked 2 places. Apparently she and her mom LARPed a lot back home, and having enjoyed some of our previous events, she wanted to gift her mom a place at our next event for her birthday. As I said, it's very sweet. This event rolls around without incident and starts as normal. The players arrive at the venue, in this case a fairly remote retreat center, but once everyone has arrived and put their bags in their assigned bunks, we sit everyone down to get through all the pre-game necessities. This includes a safety briefing, the system briefing, i.e. how to play the game, and then the need to know stuff for time in the start of the game. As will become very important later, this included the note that all belongings the players had brought, clothes, personal items, were OOC, out of character. We had told people to pack light. I believe the exact wording in the event brief sent out to players months and then again weeks in advance was, "You will only need basic clothes to wear under in-game props and essentials like toiletries." This was because in-game, the players would all wake up naked and they would be wearing clothes but have to act like everyone is naked, before being provided with boiler suits as part of the game. As a basic TLDR for that, any items they, players, have brought with them were not considered to be part of the game. Now the big crux of this game was that the facility was full of these gnarly living vine creatures, achieved via refs and a few NPC actors dressing modified bodysuits and masks who, after learning about the presence of the players, would slowly try to kill them over the course of the weekend. In its twist, that sort of deviated from the normal run of LARP. We actually scheduled the first encounter of the creatures fairly early in the game. The refs would radio in around 10 p.m. on Friday night if they had 1 or 2 players fairly isolated, and then we'd have 2 of the monsters basically jump scare them. This was not only introduce the element of there is something else here, but it would also sow suspicions between the players that saw the creatures and the ones that didn't. So 10:30 Friday night rolls around and I radio in. Our mother-daughter pair, who are playing mother-daughter in the game by request, are all alone in a generator room. I call time freeze on my room, a ref command to pause the game, and have the players close their eyes. I get the monsters hidden and then unfreeze the game. Mother-daughter continue to search until one of the monsters pops out behind the daughter, grabs her, and calls entangle, a monster command specifically for this game which held the player in place and didn't allow them to move their arms or anything. The mom screams, runs over and pulls out a LARP safe knife. LARP weapons are typically hard form with a Kevlar core, and starts LARP stabbing the monster. Since actually putting pressure on the tip of a LARP weapon could force the core to come out and actually create a dangerous point, LARP stabs are stopped before contact and then the damage of the attack is called by the player. I yell, whoa, time freeze. The entitled mother asks, what's wrong? Oh no, did I actually get them with a knife? Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's the knife that's the problem. Where did you get it from? Oh, I brought it with me from home. But remember in the briefing when we said that nothing you brought with you counted in game? Yeah, but I figured that we could just say that I found it while I was searching and then I'd already had a prop. Has a ref told you at any point that you found a knife? Well, no, but it's such a small thing. It's not going to derail the game if I have one little knife. Spoiler alert, in a game like this, a person with a knife on the first night would 100% ruin the game. And that was why we didn't have any knife props in any of the places the players could access on the first night. I say, okay, what we're going to do is just rewind the scene a little. I'll take the knife and we will just go from where the monster grabbed the daughter. I'm not giving you the knife. Lady, you can't have a knife that just spontaneously appeared. I paid to be here, so I should get to dictate the direction of my experience. Mom, you promised you wouldn't do this, the embarrassed daughter said. I'm sorry, dear, but you know how I feel when people running the game micromanage everything and ruin everyone's fun. Me having a little knife and only being able to do 1 damage every few seconds is not going to ruin the game. Spoiler alert, yes it would. I can't really explain to her how the presence of a weapon in the player party drastically shifts the balance of the power in the early stages of the game and undermines the tense, helpless atmosphere we were trying to achieve. So I called in some backup. Me into the radio. Hey, I have a bit of a situation here. Little help, please? After a minute or so, the other ref comes down and I go to meet them at the door to the room. What's up? He asks. Well, this lady brought a prop knife in with her and is insisting that I just let her have it because, in her mind, it would be inconsequential. Did you explain that she can't have a knife? Yep. Alright, I got this. The other ref approaches the entitled mother and her daughter. He tells her, ma'am, you can't have a knife that wasn't cleared by a member of the ref team. Plus, you didn't declare your knife, so we haven't been able to confirm whether it's LARP safe or not. We have to weapon check all the props, especially if a player is bringing it in. Give us a knife, and if you find one in character, you can use your prop. No, why don't you people understand that? It doesn't matter if my character has a knife. It's such a small thing. It's not like it's going to kill one of these monsters right away or anything. Lady, your character woke up naked with no possessions, and since then, you haven't found a knife or anything similar. You don't have a knife in character. Now, you can either give us a knife, or we can take it out of the game. Well then, you'll have to take my daughter out of the game too, because if I go, she goes. No, I want to keep playing, Mom. Just give them the knife. The ref says, you can always come and pick up your daughter on Sunday, or we can have someone drive her home at the end of the game. No, I get to keep the knife, or we're both going home. The ref radios for a game-wide time freeze at this point and calls all the refs down to the generator room. Oh, so now you're ganging up on me. No, I want more witnesses. The other refs arrive. The ref team totals 5 plus 2 NPC actors. The ref tells her, ma'am, you are breaking LARP rules and now you are holding up the game for everyone else. So you either hand over the knife or you leave. At this point, you will be escorted from the premises, and if you continue to resist, we will call the police.
Oh, very mature. Fine. I'll hand over the knife. But this is all stupid. Stingy jerks. Guess no one can have fun unless it's by your rules.
The other ref says to me, "You got this?" "Yeah, I'll finish up the scene." The refs leave, and a few moments later, the game resumes. This is long, but I hope it's worth the trip. In the late 1990s, I was a teacher, and a girl in one of my classes began stalking me. We had her charged, and eventually the case came to trial. The story is long and complicated, and maybe I will write it out someday. At any rate, I live in a small town, so her lawyer and I knew one another. He was a jerk, and I guess he thought I was one too, because we didn't get along very well. Our kids attended the same daycare, and our wives worked together, so it was often very tense in social situations. I spent a day on a stand being questioned by the prosecutor, then faced cross-examination. As I said, the story is complicated, but a big part of the case had to do with certain assignments the girl had done while in my classes and her interpretation of the corrections and comments I made on them. For example, this girl had very advanced vocabulary for her age, but when she didn't really know what she was talking about, she'd throw a bunch of big words at me thinking it sounded impressive. My comment was something to the effect of, "I don't see enough of you," which her lawyer tried to claim was evidence that I was encouraging her. So he was questioning me on each and every assignment I had ever given out in the classes this girl had taken from me. She kept all the marked assignments and zeroed in on one in particular. It was a satire assignment modeled on Jonathan Swift's A Modest Proposal, and the students were to make their own outrageous suggestion for a social problem. This girl had misunderstood what satire meant, just went for something gruesome and violent. Something like cutting out the feet of skateboarders to teach them a lesson. In court, the lawyer suggested that I was encouraging her to reveal her dark, violent fantasies. I said it was a satire assignment, and she clearly didn't understand it. The rest of the exchange went something like this. The lawyer says, "I put it up to you that you were the one who suggested she write this." Holds up the essay. "No," as I said, "the assignment was supposed to be a satirical suggestion. That's not what she did."
Come now. When you gave the assignments out, you knew you would get some strange essays back, didn't you?
No, we spent 2 classes reading and critiquing the original Modest Proposal, and we spent another class discussing satire.
So you're saying when you handed out the assignment, you didn't think they would misunderstand?
I thought they might.
So you didn't say anything to hit that off?
Yes, I give examples.
What do you mean examples?
When we talked about satire, I give examples of different kinds of satirical writing.
Like what?
Stories, plays, poems, and even jokes.
Did you read all these things with them?
No, the stories and plays I summarized, and I shared a couple of jokes.
Do you remember any of them?
Maybe one.
What was the joke?
I take a long pause as if recollecting, and I say, "Do you know why researchers are using lawyers instead of rats for experiments?"
Well, because there are more lawyers than rats.
The researchers don't get attached to them like they do the rats, and there are just some things you can't get a rat to do. The judge, prosecutor, court reporter, and several police officers watching all laughed out loud. The judge had to call a brief recess to restore order. We still see each other every now and then. I always smile and wave.